Hey everybody, how you doing? Here at Bicycle John's in Santa Clarita, and with us is a guy that's been through a lot. Mark Johnson. The book. Tell us about the book.
So I spent 2011 following the Garmin Cervelo team. Started out with them in Girona, Spain in January with their winter training camp, and went all the way through September at the Grand Prix Quebec in Montreal, on the way with the Tour de France, Tour of Spain, Paris-Roubaix, Tour of Flanders, basically all the biggest races of the year. And I'm a photographer as well, so I wrote and photographed a book about life with the team.
And here is the book.
Yeah, it was a great year to follow them because they did. They had the yellow jersey for 7 days at the tour, and they won 4 stages, won Paris-Roubaix. So I was very fortunate to make it happen last year. So I had total access. So Jonathan Vaughters, he was very open, and I approached him with this project, and he said, "Yeah, if you can get it funded and get a publisher and make it happen." Just hanging around like a jellyfish and waiting for things to float into my tentacles with my camera and my tape recorder, and just sort of highlighted a lot of the inside drama that the riders deal with racing, but then also what Vaughters was dealing with, because he has a much bigger project. He's really trying to reform professional cycling to make it more of a viable business, because the way the teams work today is very fragile. So sponsors come and go and teams disappear, and he's striving to make the sport more professional. And so along the way he deals with a lot of drama, interacting with the UCI and ASO, who runs the Tour de France. That made the book particularly interesting to me, because the narrative, I wanted to write more than a book about, Ryder Hesjedal attacked and got caught here. It was much more about the behind-the-scene dramas of running a professional cycling team at the highest level. The guys on this team are pretty laid back. Jonathan Vaughters, who's the director sportif and the founder of the team, he definitely looks for a certain characteristic. He likes sort of quirky riders, guys who are very intelligent, but maybe off a little bit, and that gives the team a certain characteristic, which I think is kind of captured in their choice of Argyle as their team colors. Right. But guys like Ryder Hesjedal, the Canadian, he's just got this zen-like calm about him, and you just rarely saw him get flustered by anything. And then, Tyler Farah, the sprinter, who's also a very mellow guy when you're just talking to him, when they're recovering, and they spend a lot of time laying in their beds in their hotel rooms recovering. I have an episode in the book where he just erupts, but I think that's the nature of sprinters. They have to keep it bottled up until the last 200 meters and then explode.
So we have a team situation. Yeah. Dynamics, individuals make up being the sprinter, probably long distance, and so in working together, and you see the flow of the riders changing places.
Yeah.
So how important is that team aspect?
With this team, it's very important, but it's different. So if you look at the way Lance Armstrong rode, he had a team that was constructed around him, and they were all dedicated to making sure that he won the Tour de France, and he was extremely successful. He did it 7 times. This team, Roberts doesn't have the budget to build a team around a superstar like that. So they take more of an opportunistic approach to winning races. So, if a guy's on form, for instance, in the book I talk about a stage from Tour of California where Dan Martin spins about 130 miles off the front. And at the end of the stage, he tells me he was really pleased with his performance because he did exactly the opposite of what Jonathan Vaughters told him to do. So Vaughters doesn't necessarily discourage those sort of displays of individualism. But when it comes time to, like the Tyler Farah won the stage at the Tour de France last year in Redon, where Thor Hushoff led him out wearing both the rainbow stripes of the world champion and the yellow jersey. Right? So when they need to, the leader on the road, which is Thor Hushoff, he will also slide into the position of the domestique, and it works for him.
Wow. Now, how much cycling have you done?
I've raced since the late 80s, so I'm a Cat 2 rider, mainly do masters racing now, although I didn't race much last year because I spent most of the time with my butt on an airplane or in a car seat or walking around taking photos. So did a beautiful ride out here today.
Yeah, how was it out here? Wasn't it nice?
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Isn't it a great ride?
Yeah, we rode through this valley where there's movie studios back there.
Right,
it was
Disney,
really neat. Yeah, Disney. So now when I watch TV or movies, I'm going to be looking for those mountains.
Exactly. So these guys become, after a year of this, and you too probably being involved, become lifelong friends?
That's what's unusual about cycling teams, because the only time all these guys are all together is at their winter
I've
training.
seen. So, Argyle Armada by Mark Johnson. Check it out. Here it is. It's available everywhere. I was
Yep. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, bike shops, bookstores, and if your bookstore doesn't have it, ask them and they'll get it.
Well, thanks for bringing that personal touch to a sport that I certainly don't know a lot about, and this gives us all a much better insight.
Well, thanks so much to Bicycle Johns for having me. Looking forward to it. Thanks.